Shalom, shalom. Last night we celebrated or at least acknowledged Pesach Sheni, and today we were wishing uh, one another a happy Pesach Sheni. You may or may not have heard that, and if you don't know what Pesach Sheni is, I'm going to share a little bit about it this uh, in this video. So, what is Pesach Sheni? Pesach Sheni was instituted in the desert. So, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month at twilight, in the wilderness of Sinai, the people of Israel offered the Pesach sacrifice to Hashem. Just as God had commanded Moses, so the Israelites did. But there were some who were impure by reason of a corpse and could not offer the Passover sacrifice on that day, appearing that same day before Moses and Aaron. Those affected said to them, "Impure though we are by reason of a corpse, why must we be debarred from presenting God's offering at its set time with the rest of the Israelites?" And then this was Hashem's response after Moshe told the people who came to him to wait for Hashem's ruling on the matter. Hashem spoke to Moshe and said, "Speak to the children of Israel, speak to the Israelite people, saying, regarding anyone, whether you or your posterity who is defiled by a corpse or is on a long journey and would offer a Passover sacrifice to God, they shall offer it in the second month, on the 14th day of the month at twilight. They shall eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. And they shall not leave any of it over until morning. They shall not break a bone of it. They shall offer it in strict accord with the law of the Passover sacrifice." And he goes on to say, "If anyone who is pure and is not not on a journey refrains from offering the Passover sacrifice, that person shall be cut off from kin. For God's offering was not presented at its set time, that party shall bear the guilt." All right, so this is laid the background. And I added this verse here because I thought it was very, very apropos. "And when a stranger who resides with you would offer a Passover sacrifice to God, it must be offered in accordance with the rules and rites of the Passover sacrifice. There shall be one law for you, whether stranger or citizen of the country." And I want to address this for a moment because I've heard this verse misused many times. They take stranger to mean anyone, anyone, no matter who it is. But stranger does not, it means everyone. In this case, it means a person who is a convert, a proselyte, okay? Because no non-Jew could eat the Passover korban. So it had to be Jewish, whether by blood or by choice. It had to be. So this person would have to be circumcised. This person would have to take on the yoke of the Torah. So let's make that clear. It was not just everyone. So when it says there's one law for the stranger or one and the same law for the citizen of the country, it's not talking, it's not an all-inclusive thing. This is not what it's about. This is about people who have made the choice to become Jewish alongside those who were native-born Jews. So basically what it's saying is that everyone would be treated the same under the law because it was the same Torah for everyone in this case. All right, so let's put it in that context and understand it in that context. Okay, now moving on, there are 7 things that I'd like to share with you about Pesach Sheni. The first one was that it was to be held on the 14th of Iyar. Now, why Iyar? Because, after the week of Matzah is over, there's still another week left in Pesach. Why couldn't they do it then? Why couldn't they have their Pesach offering then? I don't know all the answers to this. I need to look into it some more, but I was listening on Rosh Chodesh. I was listening to the Chazan talk to the Rabbi Emeritus. He says, "Rabbi, do you know what day this is?" And the rabbi says, "Oh, yeah, it's Rosh Chodesh." And he says, "Yeah, Rosh Chodesh of which month?" He says, "Iyar." He says, "Yes, Rabbi." Ani Hashem Rofechem. I am Hashem who heals you, or your healer, right? And I thought that is so cute. This is he is saying that the word ER is like an acronym for the term Ani Hashem Rofechem. I'm Hashem, your healer. And so what I'm saying is that ER has a lot of merit that is somehow maybe even equivalent to the merit of the sun. We remember in the sun, there's a lot of open miracles that took place. One, things that defy the laws of nature. It's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, even though the miracles are more hidden, it represents what that about Hashem healing us. Being our healer. And I thought that's a good choice. It's not by circumstance. It's not by happenstance. It's deliberate. It's intentional, and that is what Judaism is all about. Very, very intentional. Number two, it wasn't for everyone. You couldn't just decide, oh, I'm going to skip Pesach this year, and then I'm going to just go do Pesach Sheni. No, you don't. You don't do that. It was for specific reasons, that would prohibit and inhibit a person, keep them from being able to do the regular Pesach. And one of those reasons, and these were things, remember, that was outside of the person's control, such as coming in contact with a corpse, or traveling over a long distance, which would keep them from getting there on time, because you know what? They needed preparation. They needed to register. They needed to purify. They needed to go through a process, It was not played by ear business. They had to be ordered. Number three, it was eating of the Pesach offering and not a full seder. Okay, so what I mean was that, when we have our Passover, we look forward to the seder, we go through the Haggadah, we, and we had a big meal, and then, we do the Hallel and everything. It wasn't like that. It was simply eating the Korban Pesach, a small olive-sized portion that they were supposed to eat. Okay, it wasn't all the bells and whistles and all the big celebration of a full seder. All right. Number four, it was to be eaten at night, just like the regular Pesach. And any leftovers, if there were any leftovers, it would have to be burned in the morning. It would have to be burned. There was not supposed to be anything left over. Very, very important. Number five, it was to be eaten with matzah and bitter herbs. Now, for that one time, when they eat it with matzah, unleavened bread, and bitter herbs. But they didn't have to eat matzah afterwards. After that, they didn't have to eat matzah. All right? So no additional matzot would be required to be eaten, other than what fulfill the ritual. And number six, it had to be eaten within Jerusalem, which meant that they would have to register for it. Okay? People who didn't register for Pesach didn't get to participate. Number seven, Pesach Sheni does not apply today since there is no Mishkan or Beit HaMikdash. But that doesn't mean we forget about it. That doesn't mean we ignore it. We must acknowledge it. It's important for us to acknowledge it. So everybody who is saying today, happy Pesach Sheni, you did good. You did good. We're supposed to remember. Even if we're not able to carry it out, we remember. And we hope and we yearn. Hopefully we're yearning for the time when we will be able to do it. We will be able to fulfill the mitzvah, just like these men who came. And these men, we don't know exactly who they are. Some say that they were the ones who were carrying the coffin of Yosef Hatzadik. And I believe because it was in the same month, in the same time frame, the same period where Nadav and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, were killed by Hashem because they offered strange fire. And so, because Aharon and his remaining sons could not be anywhere near a dead body during that time of consecration, during the time of, during that time, or practically any time, the Torah just does give, instructions about the priests and dead bodies and so on. Yeah. Anyways, so now Moshe called Elzaphan and Mishael, who were his nephews, the cousins of Nadav and Abihu, to have them take the body, because even though the fire came, it didn't consume them. It entered into their nostrils and burned them on the inside. So their bodies were intact, their clothing were intact, so they were able to pick them up and carry them up. But because they came in contact with those dead bodies, they would naturally have contracted the impurities from being in contact with a dead body. So they too, there might not have been enough time for them to go through purification in order to be able to join the community for the regular Pesach. So perhaps they were part of that contingency of men who came together to say, it's not fair. We want to celebrate Pesach too. We want to keep the appointed times, the Moedim. Why can't we, just because we were defiled by our corpse? And Moshe took the matter to Hashem, and Hashem says, okay, yeah, all right. Since they want to do it so much, then this is how you do it. He sets up the standard and the guideline and the protocols to be able to have this makeup event, specifically for these men. All right. So the message of Pesach Sheni is about second chances that are birthed from our deepest desire to please Hashem, to know Hashem, to have relationship with Hashem. It is that human yearning that brought about the institution of the secondary Pesach. It was our desire to be close to God that brought about the sacrificial system. And it will always be our desire for intimacy with God that engenders heaven's response. Our deepest desires for closeness with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like Jacob's ladder, reaching from earth to heaven. And it is Hashem's response to that true yearning by opening the heavenly doors so that heaven can come down to us in those divine moments. So as we continue to remember the things instituted in the Torah, including the things that we're not able to do because there is no Beit HaMikdash, such as the Pesach Sheni, may we have that yearning like those men to want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to want to draw close to Him in every way that we can, to be able to receive heaven's help and heaven's response. So I hope you had a blessed Pesach Sheni, and I hope And I bless you with a Shabbat Shalom for Shabbat Emor. See you next time. Bezrat Hashem.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.